Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa. I'm Lakwe Banjo. There was a fire outbreak this afternoon at the UBA Pension Office in Victoria Island. The fire, which started about 1 p.m, has already been put under control as the Lagos State Fire Services were on the scene. We'll bring you more updates on this. Ekiti Governor-elect Dr. Kayode Fayemi on Wednesday collected his certificate of return from the INEC National Commissioner, Prince Solomon Shoyebi, at the INEC headquarters in Ekiti State. Dr. Fayemi was accompanied by his wife, Merely Bisi Fayemi, his Deputy Governor-elect, Otumba Nisi Egbeyemi, and his wife, as well as party chieftains and members. The INEC Commissioner, in his address, thanked the people of Ekiti for the peaceful conduct and outcome of the election, describing the process as the way forward for subsequent elections in Nigeria. The Governor-elect appreciated the Commission, security agencies and other stakeholders who made the election a credible exercise. Fayemi assured Ekiti people that the work has started and the people will enjoy good governance that has eluded them in the last 4 years. He promised to show exemplary leadership and lead the people to achieve his 8-point agenda for the development of the state. Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has demanded that his life and that of his family be secured, saying there is no single policeman protecting him. The governor, who made his first public appearance on Tuesday since Ekiti held its governorship election, lamented that he and his family are not safe. Governor Fayose made the allegations when he visited the Ewi of Ado-Ekiti, Oba Adeyemo Adejugbe, at his palace in the state's capital. He condemned the situation where the man that contested against me is allegedly protected by at least 2 units of policemen, while the incumbent governor has no single policeman to protect him. The governor claimed the police officers deployed in the government house had been withdrawn since Wednesday last week and called for the intervention of concerned individuals and groups in the matter. The military has arrested 7 suspects in connection with the attacks on some communities in Plateau State. Director of Defense Information Brigadier General John Agim disclosed this to reporters on Tuesday while parading the suspects in Jos, the state capital. While the suspects Ibrahim Joji and Mr. Madu Ibrahim were arrested allegedly for the attacks on June the 23rd, the military apprehended 3 others, Shaibu Suleiman, Buhari Shaibu and Zakamin Abdul Kadri, in connection with the killings that took place on July 14th. Brigadier General Agim revealed that the commander of Operation Safe Haven was relocated to the local government area after President Muhammadu Buhari ordered that the perpetrators of the attacks be brought to justice. He noted that while the military would continue with the arrest, those apprehended would be handed over to the police for further investigation and prosecution. 8 suspects who took part in the kidnap of 276 Chibok schoolgirls in Borno State have been paraded by the Nigerian police in Maiduguri, the state's capital. The 8 suspected Boko Haram terrorists, who are among 22 persons paraded, were said to have been arrested by operatives of the Inspector General's Intelligence Response Team in Borno State, Adamawa and adjoining communities. The suspects are alleged to have masterminded over 50 suicide bomb attacks within Maiduguri, the Borno State's capital, and Adamawa State, and also launched several other attacks leading to the death of thousands of Nigerians. The students of the government secondary school in Chibok were captured by the members of the terrorist group on April the 14th, 2014, an incident that triggered international outrage and campaign for the rescue of the schoolgirls. So far, 112 of the girls have regained their freedom, mainly following negotiations between the federal government and representatives of the terrorist group. A former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Aloysius Katsina Alu, is dead. Justice Walter Onogen confirmed it. Katsina Alu was born on August the 18th, 1941. He was aged 76. The deceased, who hailed from Ushongo in Benue State, was the CGN from December 30th, 2009 to August 28th, 2011. Cameroonians fleeing an increasingly bloody separatist conflict have received little aid as humanitarian agencies struggle to access the area. The United Nations said this on Tuesday, and more than 200,000 people have fled their homes in the volatile western regions since late last year. In addition to at least 21,000 who have fled into Nigeria, said the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. The regions have been gripped by violence since protests by the mainly Francophone country's Anglophone minority morphed into a secessionist movement last year. Sierra Leone's decision to deregulate the petroleum industry, as recommended by the International Monetary Fund, has been resisted by sections of the population, including civil society organizations. Last week, the Sierra Leone government removed a fuel subsidy and effectively increased fuel prices from 6,000 leone to 8,000 leone for petrol, diesel and kerosene. The decision, taken as President Julius Maada Bio marks 100 days in office, led to the first public demonstration against his government's policies. Over the past decade, anti-government demonstrations have been systematically banned or violently dispersed in Sierra Leone. Following ongoing restoration of peace between Ethiopia and Eritrea in the past 2 weeks, Ethiopia will reopen its embassy in neighbouring Eritrea at a yet-to-be-announced date. The country's Minister for Government Communication Affairs, Ahmed Shide, made the announcement in a tweet. The minister cited an official of the Foreign Affairs Ministry as stating that aside the reopening of the embassy in Asmara, Ethiopia was also working to fully implement the terms of a recently signed peace deal between the two nations. Eritrea on Monday opened its embassy in Addis Ababa after the facility was closed down 2 decades ago. Egypt's parliament has passed a law giving the state power to block social media accounts and penalise journalists held to be publishing fake news. Under the new law, social media accounts and blogs with more than 5,000 followers on sites such as Twitter and Facebook will be treated as media outlets and will be subject to prosecution for publishing false news or the incitements to break the law. The bill prohibits the establishment of websites without obtaining a license from the Supreme Council and allows it to suspend or block existing websites or impose fine on editors. With less than 2 weeks to the presidential polls in Mali, the UN Human Rights Office says killings of almost 300 Malian civilians in fighting between rival militias this year could threaten the outcome of the election. Malians head to the polls on July 29th for a vote meant to draw a line under 6 years of political unrest, jihadist attacks and ethnic clashes, but the situation has degenerated in recent months and spilled over into neighbouring countries. Mali's government has repeatedly said that polls in which incumbent President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta is seeking re-election will go ahead as planned, but the relentless violence threatens to significantly depress the turnout. And when we return, we'll be bringing you updates of unfortunate disasters in India, the life-threatening heatwave in Japan, and more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. On the foreign scene, one of the 12 boys rescued from a flooded cave in northern Thailand this month has described the moment of miracle when divers found them. Abdul Samon, 14, the only member of the junior football team who speaks English, could only say hello when the British divers surfaced. "I was stunned because they were English, so I said hello," he said. The boys, who were underground more than 2 weeks, left hospital earlier on Wednesday and are on their way home. A 6-story building collapsed into an adjacent construction site in Greater Noida near New Delhi, killing at least 2 people, police said on Wednesday, as rescuers searched for more people feared trapped in the rubble. Rescue workers looked for survivors amidst the rubble and the site of a collapsed residential building at Shah Berry village in Greater Noida, India, July 18, 2018. Police said that the building that collapsed on Tuesday night had been constructed a few years ago and did not appear to have many occupants. 5 people were killed in Nepal today by landslides and flooding brought on by a monsoon, bringing the death toll to 90 across the country. A woman and her 2 children, one of them an infant, were killed when a landslide truck struck their home in a village in north-central Nepal's Gorkha district. Mahendra Nepal said that Parbat police officer Rabindra Kumar Shrestha said in the district of Parbat, a teenage boy was buried alive and a man swept away by a flooded river after a landslide engulfed 7 houses. According to Nepal's Home Secretary, over 55 people have been injured and 18 have gone missing in the monsoon-induced disasters in the last 1 month. The Japanese Weather Agency has warned of a life-threatening heat wave in many parts of the country, with temperatures expected to hit nearly 40 degrees Celsius in some areas. The meteorological agency said in the city of Kumagaya, north of Tokyo, the temperature is expected to rise to 39 degrees Celsius, while daytime high in the capital was about 35 degrees. Local media on Tuesday reported that at least 6 people have died and hundreds more were taken to hospital for heat stroke. The Fire and Disaster Management Agency recently put the number of deaths caused by the heat stroke at 12, while 9,956 people were taken to hospitals across Japan. The heat is expected to last until the end of July. And we'll take the business reports shortly after this break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. In business, Hadi Sirika, Minister of State for Aviation, has unveiled the name and logo of the new national carrier Nigeria Air. Speaking on Wednesday in London at the ongoing Farnborough International Air Show, Sirika said the government will not own more than 5% of the airline. This is an important day for Nigeria, while the largest economy in Africa, largest population, GDP of around $500 million, and the only true aviation player in West and Central Africa, he said. According to the minister, the airline will have flights on 81 domestic, regional, and international routes. Operations are scheduled to begin in December 2018. Google is to be fined a record €4.3 billion over its Android operating system, the BBC has learned. The European Commission action followed a 3-year probe into claims that the firm's mobile device strategy had unfairly strengthened its dominance of search. The penalty is set to be confirmed at a press conference in Brussels later. It will be the largest fine imposed by the regulator against a single firm. However, Google may challenge the ruling. Still ahead on Plus TV News is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. Don't go anywhere.
And in entertainment, Nigerian singer Onyeka Onwenu is appealing to Boko Haram for the release of Leah Sharibu, who is the only Dapchi schoolgirl held in captivity by the group. Her appeal came in a video clip where she was seen crying whilst making her plea. She also appealed to President Muhammadu Buhari to take a leaf from the successful rescue of the Thai boys and to do everything within his power to ensure the rescue of Leah Sharibu, who has been held captive for failing to renounce her Christian faith by the jihadist militant organization. Oreka Goddess, a Nigerian media personality, has starred in a movie alongside South African actress Terry Feto. The film was shot in London and was directed by Joseph Adesun Loye, an award-winning British-Nigerian director. It would have its world premiere at the 2018 Durban International Film Festival. The festival, which will feature other high-profile actors, will take place from the 19th of July to the 29th of July 2018. Following the news this morning that American singer Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child has checked into a mental health facility in her battle against depression, American rapper Missy Elliott has come out to show support for the singer. Missy took to social media to share her words of encouragement, and on the platform she said Michelle showed the world why she was a class act and that depression is real, especially in our community. Missy advised Michelle to keep shining love, as she was not in this alone. And that's it on entertainment, the very best in sports, right after this.
Hello and welcome to Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoka with the biggest stories in the world of sports. The former Namibia, Malawi, Togo and Zimbabwe manager Tom Saintfiet has been appointed the head coach of the Gambia senior national team on a short-term contract. The Belgium tactician signed a 9-month contract with the Gambia Football Federation, and Saintfiet's last job was in charge of the Malta national team, but he only lasted for 3 games before he was booted out earlier this year for submitting his application for the vacant Cameroon coaching job. And Helmia Grimshain has stepped down as as head coach of Iceland after 7 years with the national team. And Heimir was named assistant to Lars Lagerbäck in 2011 and became joint manager in 2014, helping Iceland defeat England at the Euro 2016. And he became his sole manager, leading Iceland to their first World Cup, where they crashed out in the group stage of the tournament despite holding Argentina to a draw. And Premier League side Brighton and Hove Albion have signed Mali international midfielder Yes Bitsuma from former French Ligue 1 side, who actually was signed for an undisclosed fee. The 21-year-old joins the South Coast club after putting pen to paper on a 5-year contract to become Brighton's 6th signing of a busy summer. And Brighton would be competing in just their second Premier League season when it begins on the 10th of August. And the club sealed a return to the top flight last season for the first time in 42 years since 1985. And for Liverpool, they have agreed a fee of about £66.8 million for Roma goalkeeper Alisson. And the Premier League club are now expected to hold talks with Roma goalkeeper. And the 25-year-old has been at Roma for 2 years and played 37 Serie A games last season. And Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp was forced to defend goalkeeper Loris Karius, who last week committed another blunder in a preseason friendly against Tranmere. And the CAF Confederation Cup game between Enyimba and Williamsville FC, the game is actually 1-0 in favor of Enyimba, and they're into the second half of that encounter. Well, that's it on Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Thanks, Udoka. And that's our news roundup of events. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I'm Lape Banjo. Have yourself a great day.